There is no better way of making a boss seem scary and intimidating than by having it announce itself by totally destroying another boss that you thought you were going to have to fight. This is so effective that it turns up in a bunch of games, and we've already talked about some classic examples involving karate masters, giant robots, and small lizards wielding kitchen knives. But it turns out that you, the boss-savvy Outside Xbox audience, had even more suggestions for this most badass of boss moves. So without further ado, here are 7 more bosses that were immediately killed by a much scarier boss, as taken from the comments on that previous video. Enjoy!
When you start playing the Contra series' gritty reboot, Contra: Shattered Soldier, not a lot of stuff makes sense. For example, why does the game open with your character crashing a plane and somersaulting through the windshield? How did I manage to bring 10 million bullets with me? And why am I snowboarding now? As such, when you make it to the game's first proper boss and see that it is a helicopter that transforms into a mech, you're probably not surprised. I mean, that's pretty normal for a sci-fi shooter. Almost pedestrian, in fact. You're gonna have to do a lot more than that to put me on the back foot. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Yes, the helicopter mech you were supposed to fight is instead crushed flat by a giant, kind of biomechanical turtle thing who breathes fire and tries to headbutt you, and I'll be honest, is pretty hard to look at. But you ain't seen nothing yet, because proceed far enough along in this fight and you'll blow the turtle's head off, at which point it turns around and reveals that its entire butt is a big fleshy pulsating human face. Don't mind me, I'm just remembering the good times when it was just a turtle and I didn't know it had a human face for a butt. Seems so long ago now.
All right, Baghdad, time to wake up. It's a beautiful day, full of opportunity.
In the original Borderlands, your team of vault hunters sets out to the planet of Pandora to recover the keys to an ancient, legendary vault that is said to contain priceless riches, a task you achieve by shooting hundreds of people until numbers fall out of them. Trying to stop you in your quest is Commandant Steele, a siren who is in charge of the Crimson Lance, a private military employed by the Atlas Corporation who are also after the vault, and who employ hundreds of people who are just brimming with numbers ready to be shot out of them. Steele is obviously a dangerous and powerful foe, not only because of her military might, but also because of her magical siren powers, and as you get closer to your goal, she starts to make it clear that going against her and the Crimson Lance is going to be a very bad idea.
I invite you to turn yourself in at once to the nearest Lance outpost and surrender any information or artifacts in your possession. Consider this your one and only warning.
So when you finally have all the vault keys and make it to the vault at the end of the game, it's no surprise to find Commandant Steele waiting for you.
The contents of the vault are rightfully the property of the Atlas Corporation. But you, you belong to me.
Assembling the key and opening the vault door, it looks like Steele is ready to rumble, or at least it does right up until she's impaled through the spine by the game's actual final boss, the Destroyer.
The key works! Sergeant, get your team ready to go inside.
Oh wow! And eaten too! Nasty. Anyway, now you're fighting this instead, and let me tell you, I'd take a powerful siren with an army over this gross Lovecraftian bullet sponge any day. Settle in, folks, this is going to be more numbers than a pure mathematics textbook.
Man, what a sight!
You've arrived at the Galactic Sea.
Everything is better when you put the word space in front of it. A suit? Boring. Spacesuit? Brilliant. Opera? Meh. Space opera? Yes please. Blanket? Whatever. Space blanket? Now you're talking. Because they're shiny and futuristic and make you look like you've just run a marathon. Further proving the point, Kid Icarus Uprising has you battle a band of roving space pirates, who are pirates, but in space.
Its crew travels the Galactic Sea, robbing the heavens of constellations.
That's awesome. I mean, evil.
See? Pit gets it.
Watch out!
These evil but awesome space pirates have been stealing whole constellations of actual stars, and so Pitt must board their space pirate ship.
Get ready to go in.
Naturally, you must fight your way through the sleek holographic decks of this spaceship, swashing the buckles of the spacefaring privateers who get in your way. All the while, you can hear the distant bellowing of someone who, instinct tells you, is large and in charge, and must surely be the mighty space pirate captain of this space pirate ship. Finally, the time comes to emerge above deck and face the dread captain himself for a spectacular boss fight.
This elevator will take you to the pirate captain.
I am so swabbing the deck with that shirt.
And then he turns out to be a kind of little red dude with a megaphone. They do say never meet your heroes.
I have no idea what he's saying.
He's like, "Yar, I'll make ye walk the space plank, scurry dog."
And then he is immediately eaten by a kraken. Sorry, space kraken.
A space kraken? Well, that came out of nowhere.
So now you have to have a boss fight with the several monstrous tentacles of an enormous space kraken instead of the captain. This will at least be a more suitable challenge, given how the space pirate captain went out like a space punk.
Last tentacle.
Go for the head.
Also, if you thought a goddess and an angel were above making tentacle puns, think again.
Calamari.
What a sucker.
Please, a space pirate captain is dead.
If you haven't played a Kirby game for a while, you might be thinking that they're still charming little platform games where a little pink ball guy goes around doing jumps and inhaling people. Right, like that. Well, buckle up friends, because here in the 2020s, Kirby is now a breathtakingly complex, dimension-spanning tale of world-ending plots, maniacal overlords, and soul-taking possessor entities. You can still inhale things though, so that's fun. In the most recent Kirby game, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, you spend a lot of the game collecting fragments of the soul of a character called Leongar, the lion-like leader of a group known as the Beast Pack. In the game's final bonus stage, you finally reunite Leongar with his soul fragments, only for him to become possessed and attack you, leading to a boss battle between you and the possessed creature, now known as Forgo Leon. Manage to deal enough damage to Forgo Leon, and the creature possessing him, the psychic beast Soul Forgo, breaks free from his body, revealing itself to Kirby with its name spelled out in the game's trademark boss font. Make no mistake, this is a boss fight waiting to happen. That is, until a butterfly flaps its way in and lands on Soul Forgo's nose. Not a big deal, you might think, right up until the butterfly absorbs Soul Forgo and transforms into what the game tells us is the fluttering Dream Eater Morpho Knight, who has a sword, can teleport, create flame walls, and can send out floating ghostly skull things to kill you. He's also tanky as hell, and it takes absolutely ages to whittle down his health bar while he chunks yours senseless with his powerful attacks. Keep an eye on butterflies, is what I'm taking away from this. Never trusted those sneaky, colourful bastards.
Now, I'm not saying they're running out of turtle-based enemies in the Mario games, but our next boss, the Koopa Brothers from Paper Mario, is 4 turtles stacked on top of each other. Or at least they are eventually. Initially, they attack you in a not very convincing mechanical Bowser on wheels. And when that's done, as themselves, 4 Koopas in Ninja Turtle cosplay who can team up for a fairly devastating spinning attack. Anyway, because they're turtles and because you're Mario, you make pretty short work of them. But that's not the last you'll see of the Koopa Brothers, because they come back again later on, and it sounds like this time they mean business. Yes, they've been training non-stop, have learned a devastating new technique, and have a whole new take-no-prisoners attitude that may have proved to be a much tougher challenge for Mario. But I guess we'll never know, because at that point, a small turtle wearing an egg runs in and kills them all. This is Junior Trooper, a young Koopa who's hanging onto his shell and who we've encountered a few times throughout the game up to this point, although this is the first time he's actively engaged in Koopa side to get his point across. Anyway, now you're fighting Junior Trooper instead, and don't let the diminutive size and eggshell outfit fool you. This kid's a challenge. Probably would have been even more of a challenge if he'd teamed up with the Koopa Bros, but I imagine having that shell on his head does make it hard to see. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
In the finale of Dragon Quest VI, you and your brave party must vanquish Mortamor, the fearsome archfiend who rules the hellish dimension known as the Dread Realm. Over the course of this grueling and seemingly final boss battle, Mortamor morphs through multiple forms, including levitating pink old man and a big pink demon as muscular as it is terrifying. Nice six-pack? Beating this seemingly final boss will take all the might and magic you've ground into your party members over the last 50 hours, but when it's done, it's done. Or is it? No, it's not. Surprise! After you finish the game, there's an optional bonus super boss. The hardest boss in the game by far, Nocturnus, is a demon who obeys only his dark urge to reduce all existence to nothingness, and occasionally the personal trainer who gave him that quivering 8-pack. Turns out hell is one big CrossFit gym. I knew it. If you can beat Nocturnus though, and do it fast enough, this demonic super boss will do your bidding like a big evil genie. And your bidding turns out to be, go kill Mortamor again, but this time make it as embarrassing as possible. Yep, this is the point where Nocturnus mops the floor with each of the Archfiend's forms in turn, casually destroying the game's final boss inside of 5 minutes, while you sit back and enjoy the show. Some people say hard work is its own reward, but those people are wrong, because this is better.
It must suck being a boss in a Castlevania game. First off, there's the fact that you're a giant bat, or a Pazuzu, or a ball of naked people, which, bad start. Then, consider that you have to stay in one room that you're not allowed to leave, and you just have to sit around and wait until some rando member of the Belmont clan turns up and whips you to death, or whatever semi-religious nonsense they're using to kill people now. Orbiting defensive Bibles. No, that sounds about right. So spare a thought for this poor guy, known as the Revenge Armor, who finally gets his chance to step up and prove himself against Juste Belmont in Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance, only to be sucker-punched in the back by the actual boss Juste will be facing in this room, the towering suit of living armor known as Talos. I mean, look at this boss arena. It only has 2 doors, neither of which are large enough for either Talos or the Revenge Armor to fit through, so presumably these two had been hanging out in this room for the entire game up to this point, maybe chatting about armor maintenance for living suits of armor, or maybe trying to come up with cool double-team strategies for taking down Belmont, giving Talos' brutal back punch an even greater level of betrayal. Although to be fair, this isn't the first time we encounter Talos in the game. He was also there right at the start, where he chased us towards the castle and then fell down a big hole like a total chump. So he was probably in a pretty bad mood. Wrong place, wrong time, Revenge Armor.
And so, those were 7 bosses who were immediately killed by a much scarier boss. Thank you to everybody who commented on the last video for your suggestions, especially if they made it into this video. And for more from Outside Xbox, check out the video linked on screen. Or, for something a little different, check out the video from our sister channel, Outside Extra. And we'll see you for more every week on Outside Xbox.